Hey everybody, good afternoon. It's Chris here. I'm ready to read. Are y'all ready to read? All right, let's get started. Today is June 17th, and the entry says of our daily reflections. It says, deep down within us. We found the great reality deep down within us. In the last analysis, it is only there that he may be found. Search diligently within yourself. With this attitude, you cannot fail. The consciousness of your belief is sure to come to you. And this is Alcoholics Anonymous, page 55. It was out of the depths of loneliness, depression, and despair that I sought the help of AA. As I recovered and began to face the emptiness and ruin of my life, I began to open myself to the possibility of the healing that recovery offers through the AA program. By coming to meetings, staying sober, and taking the steps, I had the opportunity to listen with increasing attentiveness to the depths of my soul. Daily I waited in hope and gratitude for that sure belief and steadfast love I had longed for in my life. In this process, I met my God as I understand Him. So right now it's the 6 months, and when the sixth step is really short, right? To begin with, it's like either step 6 says that we became. Let me read it. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I know what 7 is. That 7 is my favorite, by the way. And 9 is really healing, but let me read what step 6 is. And you know what I'm looking for that step, I just wanted to mention to you, I eventually want to get to where I'm reading out of the big book and sharing with y'all. I love reading about on the big book and sharing about it. You know, kind of like a big book study or something, but just kind of some thoughts on you know, for me, what the big book did. And it changes, right? The approach changes. Even though the words don't change, the words in the books don't change. When I changed, I read them and I understand something different, or something else will come to mind, or something else makes more sense, or I look at it from a different angle. So that's why for me it's important to always continue to read the books that I read. Like this one, because this is not the first time that I read this book. I've read it for years already, for 20 years probably. Okay, so step 6 says we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. So if we're not ready, that means we're still not letting go, right? So the letting go step is step 3. It's where we made a decision to turn our will and our life over to the care of God as we understood Him, right? That's step 3. So if you're in step 6 and you're still not ready to be different or to have these defects removed, then you're still holding on and you're not letting go. So in this book, even though it's the 6th month, and most of the time the 6th month is the 6th step, they're going back to step 3 because they're if you're not ready to let go, we need to go back to step 3, right? Where we let go. And if you're not ready to let go, then step 7 will be okay. What'll be difficult is step 8 and 9, right? It's just the way it is. Because step 7 is just asking, and you can even ask to have those removed. Even if you don't mean it, you can still ask, right? So, but step 6 is getting you ready to take step 7. So if we're still struggling with step 6, we're not sure, then we got to go back to step 3, and we got to revisit that idea of why we let go or why we're not letting go, right? And sometimes it's because the God thing. You know, the God thing is a big thing in recovery, because a bunch of us, including myself, came in with the hurt, with the God hurt, with church hurt, with people hurt, with a misconception of God, with a misunderstanding of who He was, of, you know, maybe not some of us have deeper wounds to where we'll never go into a church, you know. Not me, I'm not that person, but I do know people in my group that have a way different religion than I do, a different practice than I do, and they're sober. And there's people who are, what is it called? Who don't believe that a God exists, and they're still sober today. So, who am I to say that there is no God, first of all, and who am I to say that your God is the wrong God, right? So I'm not gonna debate of whose is right and whose is wrong, but what they're talking about in this particular topic is that I really like. I'm so this is talking about the third step, and we're revisiting the third step because something's going on where we're not ready to move on to the seventh step quite yet, right? So if you're in that spot, then we revisit the third step, and part of the third step is like turn it all over, right? Say, well, I don't believe in God. I don't really like God. I don't even know who He is. Blah 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 blah. But in the reading it says, and this is a reading from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. It says, we found that the great reality deep down within us. So they're not calling it God. They're calling it the great reality, right? So if you get tripped up on the God word right here, they're calling it the great reality, capital letters. It's deep down within us, right? In the last analysis, it is only there that He may be found. Right there. And it says, search diligently within yourself. With this attitude, you cannot fail. The consciousness of your belief is sure to come. And there's even a part that says that deep down inside within us, right, is this God idea, right, deep down. And I so if you go deep down, to me, right, so this is my visual that I kind of like share with other people. So deep down, I'm going deep down within us. I'm going down right here, right here, maybe even deeper, maybe all the way down to my gut. I gotta go deep down to find Him. And guess what? I gotta go. The healing process is deep. I gotta go deep. I gotta go in there and I gotta search. So that's where God meets me. Right there. Where I'm searching my heart, where I'm searching my soul, where I'm searching my gut, where I'm searching my head. Wherever that is, however deep I gotta go, that's where He is. That's what to me, that's what it tells me today. That deep down where He is, that's where He meets me, because that's where I am. In my rock bottom, when I hit my rock bottom, I've had a few of them, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, right? I've had a few, and guess what? He was there at the bottom. He was there deep down with me. He was there with me, meeting me, so that we could come out of this together with His help. I mean, I get it today that I can't do this alone. I've already tried. I tried doing this alone like for 2 weeks already, and I was going crazy. And you know what happens when we do that? When we try to do it ourselves? Well, we lose sight of life. We lose our life. I'm losing my life trying to do it myself. I'm losing touch with the human race trying to do it myself. I'm getting desperate again, and let me see what else. Desperate and depressed and hopeless again, trying to do myself. And guess what that does for me? It makes it harder to stay sober. It makes it harder to live a life worth living. Well, Chris, you've been doing these steps for 20 years. Why do you still keep going there? I don't know, folks. Maybe because there's still more healing to be done. Right? Maybe there's some more of my brain to get healed, to be washed, or to be rewired, right? The Big Book tells us that, you know, that a body so badly beaten by alcohol doesn't recover overnight. It takes time. And it even tells me that it's a lifetime process. And that the steps, it's not just about working the steps, it's a whole lifestyle. It's a way of living. right? And this way of living is new to me. It's still new to me today. Guess because while I did have some time, while I was in recovery for the last 20 years, I wasn't always applying the principles. I wasn't always working the steps. I wasn't always carrying the message. I mean, I got stuck, in a... Okay, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about myself. And no offense, if you know who I'm talking about and you're out there and it's you that I'm talking about, please do not take offense. I'm only sharing this to maybe help somebody. So I got in a relationship, right? She got in a relationship too. She was real young in sobriety. I had some years, but I wasn't really applying the program. And we got in a relationship, and we started hanging out, and it was like boom. It was like instant, just me and her all the time. We were going to meetings. She was working with her sponsor sometimes. I was working with my sponsor sometimes. We even went to Al-Anon. I mean, we tried, right? But the main deal is that we were more about the relationship than about the recovery. And that happens sometimes if you get in a relationship while you're in recovery. I'm not saying not all relationships are bad or dysfunctional or toxic. Not that ours was that toxic. It was a little dysfunctional. But, I learned a lot from that. She was one of my greatest teachers. So I learned a lot from being in that relationship, right? So the Big Book tells us that we can be in relationships. And it tells, the 12 and 12 actually talks a lot about relationships and about how we can have a good relationship, right? And the thing is, to be in a relationship and in the program, man, you gotta continue. You gotta continue to grow. New stuff is gonna come up that is, wow, you thought you had already gotten rid of that, like jealousy, like dishonesty, like a lot of guilt and shame from old stuff, right? And now you're trying to overcompensate. Now you're lying when the truth is better. Now you're cheating. I know, it's weird, right? It's like, who would cheat on the finest woman in the world? Me, probably. I don't know. Not really. Not right now. I mean, I don't know. I haven't been in a relationship forever, so I don't know what I would be like. But I know that if I'm getting a relationship today, what's gonna be different is that I'm gonna keep doing what works, right? So that's part of my story. So I got in a relationship. Made it more about the relationship than my recovery, and I lost sight. I lost sight of myself, who I was becoming, who I wanted to be, and I eventually relapsed. I didn't relapse right away when we broke up, but I remember trying to try other relationships, and eventually I relapsed. But it was because of that breakup. It wasn't because of the other ones. I was just trying to avoid it, but I was trying to fill myself with another relationship instead of with the love of God, without my God. When I went deep down in there, you know what, I just, instead of looking for him, instead of looking to him, instead of taking his hand, I took somebody, I took hostages or victims or whatever you want to call them. And they were not like that. I mean, I got along with them. We had great times. We had a lot of fun, but it just didn't work out. I mean, I don't think I'm a horrible person because my relationships with other people don't work out. Do I need work? Yeah. But maybe they just weren't a right fit. I'm cool with that. I'm sure they're cool with that too. So I just really wanted to tell you a little bit about that because it is easy to get a really good life in recovery and then get in a relationship and stop doing and for me stop doing the things that work, right? Just FYI, as I'm reading this, as I'm reading this, I get to practice this in my life too. It's not just for a video, because some of that still comes up, the depression and the despair. It does still come up. Because there's things that going on in my life that feels like they're never gonna go away. And I almost can't stand it, right? But I have a lot to be grateful. And I gotta make that gratitude list for me. I gotta make that gratitude list. Because that's what raises my vibrations when I'm in the dumps. That's what gets me seeing something, focused on something that is working instead of focused on what's not working, right? So this program has, in the process, not only have I met my God, I have built a relationship with my God, and I've learned to lean on my God and to trust on my God. And I heard a long time ago, and I've heard it many times, people say that the number one reason why people will not give themselves to the Lord or give it up to God in step 3 or in step 6 or whatever step you are, it's because we're afraid that we're not going to get what we want. And at that moment, I felt that was true for me. Right? So if I'm still holding on to things because I'm afraid that I'm not going to get what I want, and I'm in step 6, I still think I'm in control, and I'm not. I'm not in control. The big book tells me I'm delusional. I never was in control. I just thought I had control. Or maybe I don't want to turn it over because I'm afraid that I'm going to lose something that I have. And you mean your character defects? That's all they're asking. That's all they're asking you to give up is your character defects. They're not asking you to move. They're not asking you to quit your job. They're not asking you to get a divorce or get married or get in a relationship or get out of one. They're just asking you to hand over those character defects that they're not working for you. And I had this sponsor, he would always remind me, he would say, Chris, are you ready to have God take you to bigger and better things? And I'm like, yes, who wouldn't want that? He said, well, you gotta let go of that stuff. Stop calling that girl. Stop chasing her. Stop trying to fit where you don't belong. Stop trying to hang out with people who don't want you around. I mean, like, my thinking was crazy. Besides my character defects, folks, I had to give up people too. I had to give up places. I had to give up things that I like to do. Why? Because Chris didn't know how to have healthy things that he liked to do. He liked to do some things that I'm like, I look back at myself and I'm like, really, Chris? You used to like you? Okay. Now I know you're different. I'm so grateful you don't like to do that no more. And I'm grateful that what we're doing today is applying these principles to all our life. You know, it's just a whole different way of being. You know, sometimes I look back and I think, God, who is this person? Man, who's this? It's been happening to me a lot lately. As a matter of fact, I'll be at work and I'll be like, it doesn't matter where I am. I could be doing something and I'll the window blow, or I'll see a house and I'll be like, am I still in Austin? Where am I? Or I'll pull up to my apartments and I'll be like, man, those are pretty apartments. Man, those are real nice. And I'll be like, Chris, you live there? It's like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, I live there. Wow. The person that I am today is, I've never been this person. Not even my aunt calls me Spunky. She says still the same Spunky. So I'm guessing that I might have been this person at one time. Must have been one of those times I don't remember. But I'm grateful that somebody does remember me that way. I love the person I am today. I'm not perfect, and I love that. I mess up, and I love that. I'm in recovery, and I especially love that. I'm a good worker. I love that. I'm good looking. I love that. I know how to love people for real. I love that. I know how to have boundaries. I love that. I know how to respect people's boundaries. There's so much that I love about myself today. And all those things were the things that I wanted that I disliked about myself back then, because I didn't have none of that when I'm drinking. I don't know how you're, if you can have a boundary when you're drinking, I'm so happy for you. I was never that person while I was drinking. But sober, it's a whole different story. I'm a whole different person. I'm so grateful to be in recovery today. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, folks.